You've been lied to. Strength is not in your body, it's in your control. And if you don't master it, you'll become just another man. Powerful for a moment, weak for a lifetime. You keep chasing motivation, but motivation is for civilians. You want to be inhuman? Then erase the human in you that keeps needing permission, emotion, doubt, delay. They are not real, they are programmed. And I'll show you how to uninstall them. It starts here. Not with your muscles, but with your neural wiring. I call it silent override, a mental kill switch, to deactivate the reactive man and activate the executing weapon. When the heat rises, when the weight gets heavier, when time is running out, your brain will panic. It won't ask for strength, it'll ask for escape. You'll hear it. I'm tired. I need to rest. This is too much. Maybe later. This isn't worth it. That's enough for today. No one else is doing this. That voice is not you. That voice is not strength. That voice is not truth. That is your civilian coding. It was programmed into you by comfort, by culture, by every excuse you've ever accepted. It was built for a man who wanted to survive, not for a weapon built to dominate. That voice is soft, slow, emotional, and worst of all, it sounds like you, but understand this, it is not you. It's the leftover echo of a system that fears discomfort, that panics in silence, that looks for the exit every time reality hits too hard. And if you listen to it even once, it gets stronger, it gets smarter, it learns how to manipulate you, it knows how to speak in logic. It'll tell you to recover, it'll say, be kind to yourself, it'll quote people you respect. It'll sound reasonable, but it's not reason. It's weakness, disguised as self-care. You kill it by ignoring it. You override it by moving through it. You feel the resistance, and you act anyway. You feel the pain, and you keep going. You feel the hesitation, and you walk right into it without blinking. This is not about motivation. This is not about being in the mood. This is warfare. Every time you move without asking, every time you train without emotion, every time you execute with zero hesitation, you put that voice in a chokehold. You don't need to silence it with words. You silence it with proof that it no longer controls you. And here's what happens. First, the voice gets louder. Then it gets nervous. Then it shuts down. Because you've proven something stronger than fear. You've proven that you're no longer listening. That is the beginning of mental dominance. You're not hyped, you're not pumped, you're not inspired, you're trained. You don't wait for energy, you move like it's already there. You don't wait for courage, you act before fear finishes its sentence. You don't wait for silence. You create it inside your head with execution. From now on, every hesitation is your target. Every I can't is a red dot on your scope. Every pause is an enemy checkpoint you must storm through. You don't negotiate. You don't explain. You don't ask yourself why. You just go. You just strike. You just become. This is how the civilian voice dies. Not in a dramatic moment, but slowly. Every day by your refusal to obey it. That is the first strike. The clean kill, the removal of the emotional parasite that's been riding your nervous system for years. When it's gone, what's left behind is something the world has no defense for. A walking weapon, emotionless, relentless, unbreakable. That's your new baseline. Now move or stay weak. Train cold execution. Discipline doesn't mean doing what you love. It means doing what must be done, especially when you feel nothing. You don't rise because you feel inspired. You rise because the mission doesn't care how you feel. This is where most men collapse. They think they need fire. They think they need hunger, energy, music, coffee, motivation. Number, you need cold execution. Cold means no emotion. No drama, no delay. It means your body moves before your brain gets to vote. You don't stand around deciding. You don't debate with your fatigue. You don't wait until it feels right. You operate like a weapon, like a command, like a switch flipping on without noise. This is the brain hack no one talks about. Most men train when it's convenient. Few train when it's required. But the elite, they train when it's silent, when the world is asleep, when their muscles ache. When their mind begs for a pause, they respond with action. You want inhuman strength? Then train like someone who's not human anymore. Stop linking action to mood. Stop connecting movement to emotion. Train yourself to act without a single internal message. No voice, no hesitation, no surge of motivation. Just one signal, go. That's what makes you lethal. Because now you're unpredictable. You're not ruled by weather, not ruled by motivation, not ruled by energy. You're ruled by protocol. Mental code, execution without explanation. Build this in layers. Every day, even when you don't feel it, show up. Even when your body resists, move it. Even when the noise says stop, go further. This is not a mindset. It's a system. A machine that doesn't ask questions, doesn't request feelings, and doesn't tolerate weakness. Repeat that process daily, ruthlessly, without applause. Without needing someone to see you. You don't train for attention. You train for dominance. Dominance over your own hesitation, over your own patterns, over your own biology. You're not here to feel better. You're here to rewire. And rewiring means pain, boredom, repetition, done with perfect silence. So from now on, you don't act because it's time. You act because you said you would. You don't wait for clarity. You execute and create clarity through motion. That's what cold execution looks like. Emotionless repetition, over and over, until the new you becomes automatic, until your name is no longer tied to laziness, until your work is no longer tied to your energy, until your identity is no longer tied to your feelings. That's when you've burned the softness and built something the world cannot anticipate, a machine, trained, focused, untouchable. That's cold execution. And you'll train it, or you'll be destroyed by the men who already have. When the pressure spikes, when the world gets loud, when the pain gets personal, most men break. They shake, they stall, they talk too much, they beg for clarity, they drown in noise. I do the opposite. I enter blackout mode, no thoughts, no reaction, no emotion. Just stillness. Not the fake kind that looks peaceful, the kind that's so cold it feels dangerous. Because it is. Understand this. The enemy is not the pressure. It's your response to it. Your reaction is what kills you, not the situation, not the deadline, not the pain, not the chaos. The chaos is neutral. You're the one that makes it destructive, because your mind lights up with useless signals. What if I fail? What will they say? Why me? How much more can I take? That's weakness, that's noise, and noise is fatal, so you train for blackout. You train your system to go quiet when it matters most, not calm, cold. It means you feel the emotional storm coming. But instead of reacting, you cut power to the whole grid. Blackout. Your heart's racing? Doesn't matter. Go black. Your hands are shaking? Go black. Everything's collapsing. Shut it off, all of it. No story, no panic, no self-talk, no sympathy, but just breathe. Just presence, just execution. You become the eye of the storm. Where nothing moves, where nothing speaks, where the world loses its ability to trigger you. That's internal blackout mode. It's not natural, it's trained. And you train it in moments most men waste. You train it when you want to scream, but stay still. You train it when everything goes wrong. And you don't even blink. You train it when your nervous system wants to react, but you starve it of attention. The point is not to be fearless. The point is to be untouchable in the middle of fear, because if your enemy can provoke you, they can predict you. And if they can predict you, they can control you. So stop being reactive. Stop needing to vent, cry, complain, explain. That's all noise. That's all weakness wrapped in words. Your blackout mode is your armor. It's where your opponent can't reach. It's where the world's chaos turns into your silence. And in that silence, you operate. Precise, deadly, unmoved. Let them panic. Let them react. Let them get emotional. You stay dark, you stay unreadable, you stay lethal, because the man who can stay absolutely calm when everything burns is the man who walks out alive, while the rest are still trying to catch their breath. Train it or stay noisy, and let the world break you in pieces you'll never recover. Weakness begins with confusion. with not knowing who you are, with waking up and needing the world to remind you what you're worth. That's how they control you. That's how you stay soft. Every time you look around to decide how to feel, every time you let a situation define your state, every time you let a person change your direction, you lose ownership of yourself. If they can shape your identity, they can shape your limits. You want unbreakable power, you build an identity that cannot be shaken, and you install it not once, but until it becomes your default operating system. Not a costume, not a mask, not a version of you that only shows up when conditions are perfect. A permanent state. Hard-coded, non-negotiable. You don't try to be confident. You are the weapon. You don't try to be disciplined. You are the protocol. You don't try to be focused. You are the sniper. It's not about doing anymore. It's about being. But here's the truth most men never face. You can't build a new identity until you destroy the one you've been protecting. The soft one, the agreeable one, the one that wants to be liked, the one addicted to approval, comfort, praise. That version of you is a hostage. And if you keep feeding him, you'll never evolve past the life you hate. So make a decision in one sentence. Who are you when no one's watching? Who are you when no one claps? Who are you when everything collapses? That answer is the core. And once you lock it in, you burn every bridge that leads back to softness. You don't try to act like it. You breathe it. You walk into every room like it's already yours. You enter every task like it's already completed. And you don't explain it to anyone. You just become it ruthlessly, without ceremony, without applause, without asking permission. Because the moment you seek approval for who you are, you've already handed the steering wheel to someone else. Stop trying to prove. Start embodying. This identity you install, it must be immune to failure, immune to delay, immune to other people's confusion about you. Because if your identity is based on outcomes, you'll collapse every time things go wrong. But if your identity is built on non-negotiable action, then nothing can touch you. You'll walk through failure like it's fuel. You'll walk through silence like it's strategy. You'll walk through judgment like it never existed. You will no longer perform. You will exist as a force, not a man. That's the identity I'm talking about. And once it's in, everything changes. You no longer chase. You attract through presence. You no longer explain. You silence with precision. You no longer fear being misunderstood. Because they were never meant to understand a weapon. Install it, protect it, execute it, and never downgrade it for anyone, because the moment you let them question it, they will tear it down. You don't owe anyone softness. You don't owe anyone explanation. You only owe yourself one thing: to become what the weaker version of you could never survive. That's the unbreakable identity. And once it's installed, you're not part of the world anymore. You move through it. But you don't belong to it. Use pain as signal, not obstacle. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is the instructor. And most men never evolve because they never learned how to read it. They were trained to run from it, taught that pain meant something was wrong, that it was a stop sign, that it meant retreat. But that's civilian logic. That's how the average man stays average. Pain is not there to hurt you. It's there to highlight the exact place your power is sleeping. And if you keep avoiding it, you stay blind to your own potential. Understand this. Pain is a signal. A red flare inside your system telling you, right here, this is the threshold. And most of you treat the threshold like a wall. You hit it and you pull back. You say, that's my limit. That's too far. That's where I stop. Wrong. That's not where you stop. That's where you begin. You've never seen who you really are, because you've never stayed long enough in that place. You escape it with comfort, with food, with distraction, with excuses dressed up as logic. But listen carefully, pain is a test, not of your body, of your pattern. It wants to know, will you fold like before? Will you break like every other man who wanted to be great, but couldn't handle the cost? Or will you evolve? You have to reprogram your reaction from, this hurts, I should stop, to, this hurts, I must continue. Because the man who can stay in pain without blinking becomes untouchable. He doesn't flinch, he doesn't negotiate, and he doesn't pause to cry about it. He adjusts, he adapts, he absorbs, he grows. Your muscles don't grow unless you rip them. Your mind doesn't sharpen unless you pressure it. Your identity doesn't evolve unless it bleeds first. Stop fearing it, start decoding it. Pain says you're not there yet, but you're close. It says you're in the zone where 99% of men retreat. It says this is the checkpoint to the next version of you. If you walk away, you stay exactly the same. Stronger in theory, weaker in reality. But if you push through, if you keep moving while your body screams and your mind tries to strike a deal, you win something nobody can steal. You win edge. You win data. You win the right to call yourself dangerous. Because when pain becomes familiar, you become fearless. Not because pain is gone, but because you've trained yourself to operate inside it. And that's the difference between ordinary and elite. Ordinary avoids pain. Elite extracts power from it. So next time it comes, don't get emotional. Don't ask for relief. Don't try to numb it. Go deeper, breathe slower. Sharpen your eyes, tighten your form, and continue like nothing happened, because nothing did. Pain didn't stop you, unless you decided it could. From now on, pain is a GPS. And it only shows up when you're near something worth reaching. Let the weak man flinch. Let the average man complain. Let the world sedate itself with comfort. You are not here for ease. You are here for power, and pain is how you access it. Don't run from it. Don't worship it. Just read it and move. That's the system. And if you master it, there is no environment that can break you. Not because you're numb, but because you're trained. Repetition without emotion. Weak men need emotion to move. They need to feel like it. They need music. They need inspiration. They need energy, compliments, mood. You don't, because you're not training to be excited. You're training to be effective. Repetition is the foundation. And if you can't do the same thing over and over without applause, without excitement, without even a flicker of motivation, you're not disciplined. You're just addicted to novelty. This is the trap most men never escape. They confuse emotion with fuel, and when that fuel runs out, they stop, they crash, they reset, and call it burnout. That's weakness. That's training based on emotion, and it always ends in collapse. But you will train differently. You will learn to move without a heartbeat, to strike without a story, to repeat without needing to feel a single thing. This is what I call repetition without emotion. It's the most elite system of mastery, and almost no one survives it because it's boring, it's brutal, and it's quiet. There is no adrenaline. There is no instant result. There is no moment of glory. Only the same drill, the same action, the same protocol, over and over and over, until your brain stops asking questions, until your body stops waiting for permission, until your identity no longer needs emotion to operate. This is where greatness is forged. Not in the hype, not in the fire, but in the gray zone, where nothing is exciting. And you show up anyway. You punch, you breathe, you execute. Cold, quiet, precise. And here's the secret. When you master repetition without emotion, you become faster than your doubt, faster than your excuses, faster than your past. Because most people wait for a feeling to start. But you already moved, you already hit, you already showed up while they were still thinking about it. That's why you win, not because you're better, but because you're automated, wired, hardened. Emotion is unstable. It changes with the hour, the weather, the comment section, the failures, the likes. You don't rely on it. You rely on code. You don't ask, how do I feel today? You ask, what needs to be executed? Then you do it. Flawless, silent, unshakable. Because when others burn out, you're just getting started. When others need rest, you're in flow. Not because you're stronger, but because you've deleted the virus that ties discipline to emotion. You don't hope for consistency, you've become it. And now your entire system runs on structure, not feelings. From this point forward, repetition is your religion, execution is your identity, and emotion is irrelevant. Repeat the mission, refine the pattern, remove the noise, because when the world forgets to show up, you won't. You'll still be there. in the shadows, sharpening, stacking, rewiring until the day you walk in. Unannounced dash and dominate every room, not with fire, but with flawless, trained silence. That's repetition without emotion. And if you can't do it, you'll always belong to those who can. Burn the backup plan. You don't rise with a backup plan, you survive with one. And if your mind is wired for survival, you'll never touch the level meant for domination. Most men don't fail because they were weak. They fail because they had too many exits, too many safety nets, too many, if not this, then that stories. They never fully committed because in the back of their mind, there was always a soft landing. You know what that creates? Indecision, half effort, sloppy execution. Because why go all in when your mind already believes? There's another door waiting if this gets hard. That's not power. That's strategy for civilians, for tourists, for part-timers in the war of greatness. You're not here to try. You're here to take, and to take something with finality, you have to burn the bridge. Mentally, emotionally, tactically. There can be no way back, no second option, no maybe, no let me see how this feels. You commit like a man who's been cornered by his own ambition, and the only way out is through. This is not reckless, it's ruthless, it's calculated violence against hesitation. When you remove the option to quit, your entire system starts recalibrating around execution. You stop wondering if you're good enough. You stop needing time to prepare. You stop wasting energy on self-doubt because there's nowhere else to go. You either move or you die in the same mental cage you were born in. Let me be direct. If you're keeping the safe route alive, if you're holding onto a plan B, if you're waiting for a guarantee before you give it everything, you've already lost. You're playing small. And small gets forgotten. Greatness is not for the man who dips his toe in. It's for the one who dives in so deep, he forgets there was ever a shore. This is about removing the escape button from your mind, because as long as it's there, you'll use it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but the first moment you feel resistance,
You'll run to it like a child runs to comfort.
destroy that habit, delete the exit, burn it. You say you want to change your life, then remove the version of yourself that plans to survive failure. From now on, there is only one option. Make it work. If it fails, rebuild. If it hurts, train through it. If you're tired, execute anyway. But you do not leave. You do not step back. You do not rethink the mission, because the mission is not an experiment. It is identity. It is code. It is law. And once that law is installed, every move you make becomes sharper, faster, louder in impact and quieter in explanation. You stop explaining why you're doing it. You stop justifying why it's hard. You stop hoping people understand. You just do it, because there is no other way left. Only forward, only fire. This is the point of no return. And if you cross it, you become dangerous, not because you're better, but because you're free. Free from fallback plans, free from the addiction to safety, free from the disease of what if. Let them keep their cushions. Let them keep their backup jobs. Let them keep their backup life. You are here to conquer or vanish trying. Burn the backup, burn the excuses. Burn the part of you that needs reassurance. Because when there's no way out, you find a way through. And that's where the real weapon begins. There's no next time, there's no later, there's no waiting until it feels right. Every second you hesitate. Weakness updates its strategy, and you become easier to defeat. This world doesn't need another almost warrior. It needs something colder, smarter, quieter, unstoppable. So choose, stay soft, or activate. I've shown you the weapon, now you build it, or get erased by the man who did.